Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you are doing well. It's been a hectic week. It's been a great week. It's been a profitable week, alhamdulillah, but it's been exhausting and exciting at the same time. So I hope you are doing well. It's doing well. And FOMO about to settle in a big way in the markets. In this episode, we're going to talk about when some very reputable analysts are expecting FOMO to be in full effect. For those who are unfamiliar, FOMO is the fear of missing out. And when it sets in, it often causes asset prices to skyrocket. So we'll talk about when FOMO is setting in for Bitcoin, what price it will set in, and let's get started. As always, this is not financial advice. Make sure to do your own due diligence before making any investing decisions. And by the way, do me a favor and hit the like button if you enjoy these lives. We've kind of been slacking on the likes lately. So do hit the like button if you appreciate these lives. I'd really appreciate it. All right, so let's talk about the interest rate cut probability in March. And the probability sits at 17.5% as of today. It's been falling for the last 2 days. Now, what is exciting about this is that there is a CPI reading on Tuesday, inshallah. That's when the new inflation numbers come out. And if they turn out to be colder than expected, then this probability may spike, and with that there is typically a spike in asset prices. So it's good that the probability is low, so there's more room for upside surprises. Now, if the probability does not jump next week, we are still on a estimation of greater than 50% for a interest rate cut in May. So if it doesn't come in March, the market is expecting a greater than 50% chance of a cut in May, which I think is very bullish. And basically, if it doesn't come in March, one way to look at things is that there is more time to accumulate. And in fact, my plan is basically to rotate some of my Bitcoin profits into some other equity plays. And perhaps if the interest rate cut is postponed to May rather than March, this will allow me to execute my plan since the halving will happen um, prior to the interest rate cut, and not everything will go up at the same time. At least I'm hoping. I'm hoping for this correlation to not be too strong. It seems every day that we meet, I basically tell you about Bitcoin smashing another round number. Initially, it was 44, then 45, 46, and today smashed 47. We actually touched 48 very briefly. And this is good. I think that we are well on our way to 50,000 and beyond that. I think, we could be at all-time highs before the halving, and there's only around 2 months left for the halving, a bit more than 2 months, but it's right around the corner. Not only that, but Bitcoin adjacent stocks have been doing quite good, including Bitcoin miners, and two of the miners that we have in our portfolio have actually done quite well. Notably, CleanSpark today was up a good 30%, and in fact, we decided to take some profits from both CleanSpark and Iris today. I know there's still room to run here, but I like to make my profits real, and you can't make your profits real without selling every now and then. It kind of makes things a lot funner when you do make things real every now and then, rather than just keeping everything as investments and digital numbers. Take some money out every now and then. It feels good. It makes things real. Do something fun with it. pay off your debt if you have any debt, pay some bills with it. It's a lot funner and it takes a lot of risk off the table for you. You sleep better at night when you take some profits. And remember, you can never go broke taking profits. So my 2 cents here. Don't You're not going to time the top exactly when things are typically. So I like to use some heuristics or rules of thumb, and one heuristic is that when you have the inkling to show your performance to someone else, that's typically a good time to uh, maybe take some profits. Bitcoin ETFs have performed better than any other ETFs in the history of Wall Street, with iShares and Fidelity, basically BlackRock and Fidelity leading the way. So much for all those who were saying, the ETFs were a flop. Uh, And as it relates to when fear of missing out is really going to settle in the markets. According to one analyst, I found this study to be quite interesting. So he found that FOMO really sets in when the price of an asset reaches a point that it hasn't been at more than 3% of its life. So in the case of Bitcoin, that price is 50,000. So Bitcoin has basically spent 97% of its life below the $50,000 mark. And so, according to this study, once it reaches that $50,000 mark is when FOMO really starts to set in. And again, according to the same study, they expect a appreciation of between 200 and 400% within the next 4 months of reaching that price level. Now, obviously, history doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it does rhyme from time to time. So take this for with a hefty grain of salt. That said, it is kind of interesting to look at and kind of reference, and gives you an idea of some of the possibilities that may be awaiting us. That said, what I want to emphasize for you today is to not FOMO, is to instead dollar cost average. I would be more aggressive with my dollar cost averaging at a time like now, where everything seems to be lining up perfectly for this Bitcoin asset. So I would be pretty aggressive with my buying if I wasn't already set up the way I want to be set up. Um, but that said, don't buy something if you don't know what you're buying, and have an exit plan, right? Understand that at some point you have to make things real. And to make things real, you have to sell. And you have to understand when you want to sell, especially as it relates to Bitcoin. These things are cyclical. Crypto in general, the crypto assets tend to be very cyclical. So I think it makes sense to understand, what your strategy is and stick to it. Don't just, you know, don't have shiny object syndrome where you're chasing the next shiny thing, whatever asset is going up at the time. That's what you're FOMOing in. Don't be like this guy. And I read this story, and it kind of I wanted to share it with you guys, and just to tell you guys, do not be like this guy. So this guy, unfortunately, um, lost 87,000 in his Robinhood account, and he's down to 3,000. And he says, retirement has been postponed. I bought puts, stocks went up. I bought calls, stocks went down. What the hell is wrong with the stock market? Why can't I be right once? Retail traders like myself will only lose money if they keep manipulating the price. It's totally rigged. My future is dark and contemplating on filing bankruptcy. I deposited another 5,000 yesterday and casually lost 2,500 today by being bearish with 2,700 left. How can I make it back to 87,000? What's the next earnings play I can YOLO my money into? All right. So this is exactly not the approach that you want to take. The stock market can be good if you know what you're doing, you have a plan, you stick to it, you're disciplined. If you're just YOLOing your money into the next shiny object, it could end horribly wrong. So, what I want to emphasize for you is to keep your emotions in check. Joining a community uh, of similar minded people, I think, is always useful to bounce ideas off of one another and encourage one another. And that's what I think we're building, inshallah, with PIF. And so I encourage you to become a member if you aren't a member already. And with that being said, I will go to the comments really quickly before I let you guys go. Wa alaikum salam, Jawad. Nice to see you. Eventually, I do think Bitcoin will reach 250,000. Time period, no one knows. Yes, I do think Bitcoin will reach 50,000 soon, inshallah. I currently have a proxy for Bitcoin through Bitcoin miners. Buying half a Bitcoin in 5 years will make you a whale. So if you can just afford half a Bitcoin, I think that's totally fine. You don't have to have a whole one. I think in the future, having half a Bitcoin or what we consider a small amount today will make you a whale tomorrow. So the important thing is to be gradual and have patience and dollar cost average. And um, uh, I think now's the time to be aggressive, but consistency and patience over a long period of time always beat out the trying to get rich quick. Remember the tortoise and the hare. Remember that. Very profound story. Does it feel like 1999 with the AI craze? I actually think that AI evaluations are not too unreasonable, to be honest. I think they're within the realm of reason. And I think AI is just as big as the internet, if not bigger, in terms of its impact over our lives over the next decade or two. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Leave a like if you haven't already. And until next time, make sure to take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.